Hello everyone, welcome back to the SMITE Comprehensive Guide to Support. This is Cthulhu again. We're going to go on ahead and finish addressing Cthulhu because that previous episode had a surrender. We didn't get to the late game with him. I wanted to talk about him some more. Alright, Atlas, huh? Interesting. Now, in the previous episode, we covered how Cthulhu is actually secretly very supportive, a lot more supporty than a lot of people give him credit for. And of course, there's a variety of ways you can approach Cthulhu. But generally speaking, I do typically just stick with Sentinel's Gift here. We're going to go, of course, into the standard build here. We are going to want to emphasize HP. Again, your max HP is increased by a percentage when you ult, so that is particularly useful there. That's an interesting and bold strategy from Sun Wukong there. I wonder what they're up to. With this enemy composition, we're going to want, I think, Shell is our first. And then we're just going to go on ahead and grab our usual amount of potions. Alright. So, again, we are specifically taking Sanity Break because that has the lowest cooldown and has the attack speed slow. We're going to be increasing this first, also as a result of that attack speed slow, which we really want. Also, we get the damage mitigation when we get people thoroughly insane enough. I mistimed that. My mouse is not set to the correct thing. Now we're good. It's supposed to auto-set that, but I guess it doesn't. There we go. Yeah, we're going to be a little late to lane because of my goof with the mouse. Interesting opening move. We're going to go on ahead and do that to pull the mini aggro here a little bit, but we're going to have to fall back. Again, this is my fault due to not doing the right thing, but that's just purely going to result in them getting apparently nothing. They completely wasted that opportunity, which is very interesting. We're going to go on ahead and grab the root as our second because it's a safe ranged option. Go ahead and poke Heimdall there. And then we're going to go on ahead and whack the minions. Now, the Atlas versus Cthulhu is actually a fairly even matchup because we have roughly the same kind of wave clear. His passive is a little bit more useful early on than mine is. I'm going to go ahead and shell this. We're going to go ahead and break his shell. We're going to use another health potion here. And we're going to be doing alright at this point in time. We are completely fine here. Alright. Open with that because it's a little farther range than our auto attacks. And there we go. Waltz on in here. Use some autos. Go ahead and hit these guys. And that's going to give me the ability to hit them all with the root here. And then we're going to actually separate Heimdall. Interesting decision there. I thought he was going to throw me under their tower. He did not, which I find interesting. But I respect the attempt to save Heimdall there. Not using any mana here to restore some back. Going to go ahead and rooting Heimdall here. Good. Now notice I immediately backed out of the grab range there. That was specifically so that way I could just only be pulled and not actually grabbed, which is a bit inconvenient. He wasn't going to have the time to actually throw me under tower, so I wasn't really concerned about that. I just didn't want to be kind of left helpless. I also knew that the jungler wasn't coming because they hadn't hit any wards, so I knew that was fine. Now, I know for a fact the enemy is going for their purple buff, so I really don't need to use any abilities here to speed this process along. I'm just going to go ahead and let on her clear this so I can get some mana back at this point. There we go. Now we're going to go on ahead and increase Sanity Break. Again, that's our most auto-attack cancelable ability, and it does provide the attack speed decrease, which again, as a tank, we really want to have some kind of response to the enemy ADC if possible, and that's a nice built-in response to the enemy ADC. It looks like Atlas backed, so what I'm actually going to go right on ahead and do is help on her with this wave, and then poke him out a little bit here. And then I'm going to go to mid lane at this point, because I am really confident that he's heading over there. And I need a bit more gold before I actually go back for my Gauntlet of Thebes. So I'm going to want to head on over here a little early. Maybe pull some delicious gold there. Oh, we want to go for this first? Okay. I just double warded that for absolutely no reason. Looks like Loki's going to gank right lane. No, he's going to go for the oracles. We're going to go ahead and help Scylla with this really quick before we go back for our... Yeah, there we go. We have our ults. And now I'm going to back so I can grab Gauntlet of Thebes. We're going to grab some wards here. And off we go. Now I'm kind of keeping an eye... Okay, there's Atlas rotating. I was going to say, I noticed Atlas did not rotate. And I was wondering if I should go back to right lane, if he was going to stay over there. He did rotate over to mid, which is good for me. I did not want to go back over there. Right now, on her is about paced with Heimdall. Yeah, they're roughly the same. Yeah, they're approximately the same. I think Heimdall is ahead by, like, what, 100 gold? And we're just going to go ahead and tank these for Scylla, so she doesn't take too much damage here. No. You behave. Alright, since I know Loki's coming in, we're going to go on ahead and do this. Yeah, Nemesis dove a little too deep there. Good. We're going to go on ahead and utilize our shell here. What? Oh, never mind. I know what I was rooted by. It's hard to see Yu Huang's abilities when you're this large. Go ahead and get some poke going on there. Pull the main aggro for Loki, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Increase sanity break. Alright, and then what I'm really hoping we get is... Yes, I get to split this with him. This is good. Now, Onher is winning that fight with Heimdall. This doesn't particularly surprise me, because Heimdall really doesn't have much in the way of movement abilities. He's got his Bifrost Bridge, and that's about it. And that's not really going to help him out a lot against Onher, because the thing is once Onher throws his obelisk up, there's really not a lot Heimdall can do to get out of that other than walk literally out of it. But if he decides to auto-attack while he's in that obelisk sand, he's not going to get out of it fast enough, and he's going to wind up losing that fight, just because he's taking increased damage from Onher, which he can't afford to take a lot of the time. So it is an advantageous matchup for Onher in that regard. That is actually why I really wanted Atlas to move out of the lane, because I know from both personal experience and from watching other people play that the Heimdall versus Onher matchup is not in Heimdall's favor. It's one of the very few matchups that Heimdall really has a problem with in the ADC role. There's not a whole lot of matchups that are problematic for him. That is one of them. Just because the other one would be Neith. A lot of the times he has a hard time with Neith. Just because once he gets rooted, there's really nothing he's going to do to get out of that. No, we don't. Not as easily. You go right on ahead and full commit. Now you're going to get slapped. I don't want to ult here because I don't have the mana for it. The downside of Cthulhu's ult, just to reiterate, is just the insane mana costs of that ult. And throw out the mire. He was ready. Now, right now, Loki is moving for the counter gank. I am reasonably confident that we are talking about a Nemesis gank over there. I'm not sure why you people are bothering. Because I'm just gonna, that's fine, I was waiting for that. And then I'm just gonna do this. And then that was all for absolutely nothing. What the hell happened in right lane? Alright, I don't have any mana left, but I was able to hold the wave long enough. Oh, Heimdall ult. Yeah, no, that's not a problem. Hold on, I'm gonna actually wait and absorb these couple stacks here. There we go. And then we're going to go back, and we're going to grab... what do we want specifically? I think Sovereignty is what we're gonna specifically want at this point in time. Just because it's gonna give us the health, it's gonna give us physical protections. Now, a lot of people build Voidstone on Cthulhu. Whether or not I build Voidstone on Cthulhu really depends on... Look, do I have enough allied magic damage to make that worthwhile? And in this particular case, the answer is no. We only have Scylla, and since her Crush already has built-in penetration, she does not need Voidstone. So I'm not going to be bothering with that. I'm going to very likely be looking towards Genji's Guard. They don't really have the kinds of self-heal that I need to worry about. Also, at this particular point in time, we are going to be going for Rushing Terror, because there's not really any reason to increase the mire over this. If we're looking for damage, Rushing Terror is, in fact, the better ability to increase for damage purposes. Come on, Solo, help me out. No? Alright. I need these assist stacks. I'm 2 away from... No. Get out of here, punk. That's warded. I'm gonna ward this. And just so I can keep an eye on the enemy, we're warding this. Right here. Now, Yu Huang is a little bit ahead of Scylla. This is very specifically because I arrived in lane, what, 1 wave early? No, you don't think you're being cute over there. Come on. That's pathetic. There's my stacks. I'm going to go on ahead and try and gank on her really quick because I know Atlas backed. So I actually have the opportunity to do something with this. Yeah, I'm not sure where Nemesis went, though. That's my real question. There's Yu Huang. There's Nemesis. Get out of here. I want to warn everyone that she's still in right jungle somewhere. I'm not sure where, which is the problem. Oh, there she is. Yeah, get out of there, punk. You don't have the mana for this, honestly. Good. Increase our ult. Looks like Solo won that little boxing match with Yu Huang, which is good. Even with Atlas there, that was pretty nice. Loki was able to steal Yu Huang's damage buff, so he's not likely to win any future fights either, which is pretty nice as well. That's pretty significant. I'm going to come over here and go ahead and grab some assists off of this. There we go. I'm trying to keep an eye on her right now. I know he's been ganked a couple of times. I want to make sure he stays ahead of the Heimdall, because if he can... Or at least, let me rephrase that. I want to ensure that he at least stays apace with Heimdall. Now, I can safely leave here because I know for a fact that it's just Atlas there right now. Never mind, Yu Huang just showed up. You just put that ward there. Nah, that's not a gank opportunity. I need to go back. I need sovereignty, and I need to start thinking about my next form of protections. We're going to very specifically... We are going to go for Genji's Guard at this point, in all honesty. I want the MP5, I want the cooldowns, then I'll get Breastplate of Valor. Either Breastplate of Valor or Pridwin, I'm not really sure which. I'm kind of leaning towards Breastplate of Valor. I do want the MP5. The cooldowns would be really nice to have. And then I'll finish off with just a splash of damage in Soul Reaver. because that's going to actually give Cthulhu, with all these ability damages, a large spike in damage output there. It looks like Loki's going to be able to kill Nemesis. We just have to make sure that we take out Bologna as well. So we're actually going to focus Bologna very specifically here. Ignore Atlas here. Go ahead and bop her shell Loki as soon as I get the opportunity. That's fine. Yeah, back off. We did not accomplish this minimum goal here. It's okay. Hi there. Peekaboo. I thought I heard Scylla over here. I was wrong. Oh, he's diving. He's diving this. Let's see what we can do. Okay, good enough. Okay, good. That is minimally what we wanted to accomplish there, was at least taking out Bologna. It is unfortunate Loki died as well, but he took out Nemesis earlier, so I'm actually not that concerned about this. We also took left tower in that little episode, so that was really good for us as well. It's going to put Sun Wukong in a really strong position overall. I'm just going to go ahead and drop this form if possible. He's getting ganked. Alright, hold on. We're going to go on ahead and help him out with that. Maybe we can stall out Nemesis. No, I'm just going to go back then. I don't really have a lot of mana. Hold on. We're actually going to wait a second. We're going to go on ahead and clear these jungle camps, because then I can get the 1550 I need for Genji's Guard, which is going to be really useful for me. And then we're just going to help him out with this. And this will be all I need. That's fine. And now we have Genji's Guard. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's Genji's Guard, to be honest. We're going to go ahead and get Blink, because we actually want to be able to Blink ult in. That actually is a fairly psychologically impressive thing. A lot of people really don't understand how psychologically scary Cthulhu really can be. Not even related to, you know, oh, he's Lovecraftian, he's Eldritch, he's insanity inducing. No, not like that. But just having Cthulhu blink into the middle of your team and then become absolutely massive is a very scary thing, because you see size and you assume just power, which often is true. Behold, for instance, hold on. Now the Atlas, of course, kicks right into his usual, and then we have good old Sun Wukong coming in on this, which is good. And that's, you know, we lost Scylla in that, but they backed up real quick when Sun Wukong and I got in there, and for all they knew, Anhur wasn't even involved, even remotely. Sun Wukong is still fighting in there for some unholy reason. What is this? Hello, Yu Huang. Don't much care, honestly. Actually, yeah, no, I know what I need for this team comp. Good, good. And then we're just gonna go on ahead and hang out Limboa here. Thank you, Sun Wukong. I appreciate. Okay, we got him. Too bad they hit like wet noodles, otherwise they'd actually be able to intimidate me. They're hanging around in the right jungle an awful lot here, which is totally fine with me. We have mid tower, we have left tower, so we as a team want to be focusing on right lane anyways. So they're actually making a bit of a strategic error here by focusing our attention in that area. That's the area they want to be taking right now. I'm sorry, that's the area we want to be taking right now, not them. They'll want to be trying to pick up this left and mid tower. And while no matter where they go, we're going to be able to have relatively easy access to mid tower anyways, because mid tower They really should be trying for left tower a little bit here, because in theory, we don't have anything to fight. Well, we have less to fight for over there. It would be pretty hard to roll a fight in left jungle into a tier 2 left tower at this early point in the game. So we really wouldn't want to be over there in the first place. So I'm not sure why they're focusing so hard on the right jungle. Come on, Honor, we just need you to... You know what? To hell with it, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Now we're just going to go on ahead and waltz over here. Actually, yeah. Nope. Get out of here. We're fine, we're fine. Sun Wukong is okay. I'm a little less so. Alright, good. Still very good for me. Go ahead and lock down the Honor. Hopefully we can take him Atlas. That's a mistake. I could dive that, but my allies need me elsewhere, honestly. I was slightly too late on that. That's fine. Oh, is he going to be able to... No. Okay. Still a good fight for us overall. I don't think we lost anyone. They lost Nemesis. Alright, we need to retreat. We need to get out of here. This is no longer a fight we're interested in. I'm going to actually... no. If I wait a couple more seconds, I can actually get some... Breastplate of Valor, I think. Yeah, I've only got 100 gold I need left at this point, so we're just going to go ahead and stick around for something. Sun Wukong, do you want to split this? Oracles? You want to get these oracles? Sun Wukong, please? Sun Wukong, please? No, he doesn't care. Okay. Well, we're close enough to getting Breastplate of Valor that we can just back anyways and get it. That's fine. Alright. So we have Breastplate of Valor at this point. Now, I'm going to be building Soul Reaver. Just for a little splash of damage here. The reason why is because obviously everything Cthulhu does deals damage to the enemy. Second off, they do have a bit of a tankier than average comp. Nemesis as a jungler, she can steal away protections, and quite frequently she's actually building a little bit of physical protections right there. So Nemesis as a jungler tends to be a little tankier than average anyways. So we want to kind of circumvent that with some nice Soul Reaver action going on there. And Honor is, by the way, level 20 already, which is kind of intimidating for them. Hi! Yeah, you're fighting me under the Gold Fury, which you really don't want to be doing, by the way. And I've got my whole team with me now. Let's cautiously reinforce. Okay, there's Nemesis down, so that's pretty good for us. They're really going after Yu Huang, which is good. We'll see some kind of absolute nightmare to deal with. Probably not my smartest blink. Yeah, that was a bad mistake on my part. I shouldn't have blinked there. Can we talk about how strong Anhur is that he can actually tank the tower for a little bit here? Alright, we clearly overcommitted on that. Very obviously. But that's okay. I mean, my terrible blink notwithstanding. Now, you might be wondering, Professor, why didn't your allies go for the Gold Fury? Well, there's a couple of very specific reasons for this. One is, we just killed Yu Huang. He was the only one who died in that conflict, other than myself. So it is good that at least it was a trade. It wasn't like a terrible fight for us. We didn't lose the fight. We kind of tied the fight, really. But the problem there is that the rest of the enemy team was still alive, so that would have made it just unnecessarily risky to try for the Gold Fury. It would have been really easy for them to interrupt or steal that with all of the people they had left alive at that time. And since the only real tank there was Sun Wukong, if that went south in any way, our front line would have already been weakened by the Gold Fury and likely would not have been in a position to actually do anything to help the team if they did decide to go for that interrupt. So that would have been unnecessarily risky for those specific reasons. So not going for the Gold Fury was the call there. Okay, we got that. I'm just going to go on ahead and ult here to try to create a cover for my allies to get the hell out of here. That worked out alright. Okay, we are fine. I would like for Nemesis to... I'm sorry, that's Sun Wukong. What are you doing? You can't hurt me. What the hell are you thinking? Hello? Oh, that was exactly what we needed. There we go. Look at that. I accidentally stole that, but that's okay. Yeah, alright. We can go for this? Alright. I don't think that this is the best idea. But they didn't interrupt the Pyromancers, so okay, we're gonna actually have to fight this. Just create time. Ah, they stole it. Okay.
That's a creative way to get rid of someone.
Alright, now that I've disengaged, I need to make sure Anhur gets out. He should be able to. Yep. We're going to go on ahead and retreat from this. I don't think this is a good fight that we want to continue. I think we need to go back. It's unfortunate that they did steal it. That's why I didn't want to make that call. It's kind of why I was kind of veering away from that. Actually, before we finish that, let's really quickly grab Sentinel's Embrace and grab Breastplate of Determination here. Really capitalize on our protections right now. Good, good. Absolutely fantastic. Slap. Good. Alright. Now, we are going to help Anhur with this. Alright. Good, good. We did get it. That was a good use of his ult there. I'm kind of taking a risk chasing this fight a little bit here. But turned out okay. Got some weakening damage in there. If we can take out Yu Huang, that would be really good. Alright, we have Bologna separated. I was gonna say, we need Anhur alive. That was really awesome ult. Gonna go on ahead and shell her. Not yet. Okay, he's gone. Good. Ouch. I didn't need that in my life, but okay. We good? We are fine. Okay, perfect. That worked out really nicely in our favor. That was a great fight for us. We didn't lose anyone. We killed 2 of them. We got the Gold Fury. That was fantastic. Alright. And there they all are. They're looking for mid-tower, which is fairly interesting. I'm going to go ahead and force Yu Huang to back off because Anhur does not need any help. Oh, he did. No, never mind. We got her. Okay. I was going to say, maybe he does need help with Bologna, but no. So all I was really trying to do there, I recognized that really Anhur was in no danger, so all I needed to do was make sure Yu Huang did not participate in any shape or form. Because that would have gotten Anhur killed. But just the Bologna herself. I don't know what she's building. We're going to have to examine that at the end of the match, because I don't think she's building very well for all intents and purposes. I'm surprised Loki got out of that and stole the speed buff, which is fairly impressive overall. Can we take this? I'm not sure we can. Yu Huang kind of scares me right now. He is kind of hitting hard. Does he have pen? He has a lot of pen, actually. He's got Upshard. So we're going to want to treat him with some respect there. Loki, you alright there, buddy? Just take care of those minions. Gonna go ahead and pop up here. Good. No, we're alright, we're alright. We're okay over here. For now. Oh, Sun Wukong dove. Alright, that's what he's okaying about. That's fairly interesting. We don't want this fight. We are not in any condition. None of us are at full health. We are not exactly full on mana. Please leave. I don't have enough for Soul Reaver yet, but we're getting closer. Oh, they killed Loki. How? Well, at least we got a trade there. Oh. You barely made it out. It's a little late for me to do even that. Oh, bye. How much damage is this going to do to me? What is that, 60? Yeah, that was a really insignificant amount of damage to me. Root the Heimdall. Okay, good. We spooked him a little bit there, which is good, because it's going to cause him to move a little slower. He's separating himself, which is fairly interesting. Alright. Come on, you want to fight? No? Okay, we gotta back out of here. That's fine. Scylla doesn't need help with Nemesis over there because she got the first blows, so that's fine. Yeah, I saw you over there. Just waiting for the healing to come. Looks like Loki's just gonna go over there and grab left tower, which is what we need. Yeah. Scylla's going for jungle buff because damage camp. Makes sense, actually. That's not bad. It's not like they're gonna be popping out of here anytime soon. They don't have the guts. Basically. I'm just gonna go on ahead and keep on healing through my pretty high HP 5 at this point. Here's Nemesis by herself. I'm just gonna go on ahead and run distraction here at this point. I'm gonna die for this, but that's fine. We have Soul Reaver. We're gonna go on ahead and boost Fortifying Shell. Good ult by Sun Wukong. Now you may notice that despite the fact that Cthulhu gets 20% increased max health, I haven't exclusively focused on the health. The primary reason why is because you do need a lot of other things for Cthulhu. You need cooldown, obviously, because that's going to help him survive. You need such things as mana. You need MP5. You need all of these delightful things to really help out Cthulhu a lot more. It's not just about his HP. He can really utilize HP in a way that not any other Guardian can, by effectively drastically increasing his maximum HP pool, which is really nice. But it is by no means the only thing you need to think about when you are building Cthulhu. Alright, now we're just going to go on ahead and blast this. Good. Alright. And now I'm assuming that they're going to be going for the Fire Giant pretty soon, because quite frankly, at this point in time, that's their best shot at getting out of this next fight alive. Most of us are dead. But I don't think they're in a condition to necessarily... Oh, they're going for it, though.
An enemy has been slain.
Yeah? Hey, how you doing in there, Heimdall, huh? Yeah, you got that Fire Giant. Boy, you showed us. You died across the board for it, but that's fine.
Ooh, that's a creative way to get rid of someone. An enemy has
Perfect.
been slain.
Alright, and you'll notice that I actually really hit hard with Soul Reaver there. I'm not sure how easy it is to see it, considering I was absolutely stinking massive at the time. Making it a little bit harder to see than normal, but I was hitting pretty damn hard with that Soul Reaver. A lot of your damage. You can do some really incredible damage with Soul Reaver with Cthulhu. Now, again, I did build Soul Reavers specifically due to their tankier than average composition. If they were squishier, just as with Ares, I would absolutely have gone with Spirit of the Magus instead. Another excellent item to use on Cthulhu. You're increasing the damage your allies are doing. You're increasing your own damage. Another fairly interesting item to use is actually Gem of Isolation. Gem of Isolation is abnormally useful on Cthulhu because everything he does in his ult is considered an ability. So everything you do in your ult, first off, is going to cause a slow. If you damage enemies with your transformation, that's a slow. When you hit somebody with the first hit of the mire, that's a slow. The only real thing that isn't going to generate anything approaching a significant slow would be the pop-up on his second ult ability. That's about the only thing. Literally everything else he does would then generate a slow. Now, why didn't I build Gem of Isolation here? Primarily because the slow wouldn't really help against this particular team composition. Only Heimdall would really care. Atlas and Nemesis both have their dash. Bologna has her ult, and while that's not going to be up all the time for very obvious reasons, it still is something that I would expect her to use and save up for if she gets in an ugly spot. So I can reasonably expect that if I'm slowing her down with Gem of Isolation in the middle of a particularly gross team fight, I can reasonably expect her to ult out of that and make a getaway, regardless of whether or not I've used Gem of Isolation on her or not. And Yu Huang, of course, has his graceful float. So, against this composition, Gem of Isolation wasn't really going to do a whole lot of good. There are team comps that Gem of Isolation is absolutely devastating with. For example, let's say their mid lane was Posh. I would probably have gone for it there because, again, Bologna's real escape from Gem of Isolation is her ult. So Posh and Heimdall being just really susceptible to slows, and Bologna being kind of weak to slows due to just not having a consistently reliable way of getting out of them, that would have tipped me over to the edge of, hey, I think Gem of Isolation would be really good here. So these are all really great items to use on Cthulhu as a final item. Just for your, just to keep in mind, Soul Reaver is probably the riskiest because you do have to balance the fact that unlike Gem of Isolation, which gives you HP, or Spirit of the Magus, which gives you lifesteal, Soul Reaver gives you mana. And while having increased mana is always a good thing with Cthulhu, it isn't quite as... It's not going to help you survive quite as well as the other two. So if you decide you instead prefer Gem of Isolation for just a little bit more, I think it's, I want to say it's like 60 more max HP whenever you ult, which isn't that bad. Go for it. I mean, any of them are really viable. Even against heavier, tankier team compositions, even Spirit of the Magus is still a really viable option. I just prefer Soul Reaver in that particular situation. And again, under the Fire Giant, between me and the Fire Giant slapping down a whole bunch of these enemies, yes, they got the Fire Giant, but Yu Huang and Heimdall died right then and there, and Atlas was not far behind. So as a result, they really didn't get to use the Fire Giant. I mean, and I think they were The problem with that fire giant fight at the end for them was they had not won that last team fight by enough to make that happen. When you are going to go for the fire giant, you have to have won a team fight by a pretty substantial margin. The remaining people still alive should have a much larger remaining pool of health and mana than what they had at that point. So that was more, it was not so much that it was necessarily in and of itself a bad call. They just, by the time they went back to heal and then went for the fire giant, it was too late, essentially. But I do want to really quickly talk about the Bologna build, because she really had no real way of doing damage, and she was not tanky enough. This is a really odd build. Now, I talked earlier about Achilles' auto attack, and how Death's Toll is really incredibly useful. Going into Death's Embrace, really great way of staying alive. And I don't have a problem with this with Bologna. In all honesty, that's fine. Alright, that's not really a criticism here. The issue is not even Berserker's Shield. Good opening move. You'll notice actually in the early game, she and Sun Wukong traded fairly nicely. She was actually 600 gold ahead of him despite ostensibly doing worse. This is mostly due to just jungle farming a little bit better. Then she built Sovereignty. I don't know why she built Sovereignty. Okay, look. I understand that it's becoming a newer trend in the solo lane to build Sovereignty for its really low cost boost to your physical protections and your health. And it gives you great HP 5 as well, so that's something that a lot of solo laners really want. I understand this. My issue with Sovereignty is that it does nothing for your offense. You are a solo laner. You are supposed to be a mix of attack and defense. And Sovereignty is defense pure and simple. It's not like, say for example, let's look at Sun Wukong's build as a comparison. Let's do a really quick comparison. He opens with Bluestone. Great opening item on Sun Wukong. Fantastic. Just as good of a pick as Death's Toll for Bologna. That's great. Goes right into Soul Eater. Fantastic item on Sun Wukong. Great. Berserker's Shield, great item on auto-attacking Bologna. No complaints. So far, for the first two items, both of these I'm really on board with. Now, here's where it gets weird. Sun Wukong does the correct move of building Glad Shield. Now, this is going to give him a combination of physical protections. This is going to give him a little bit of health. It's going to give him some power. It's going to give him some additional damage, and it's going to give him cooldown. All of which is listed right here. Obviously, I'm only basically reading that out loud because I want you to hear it in comparison to Sovereignty. Lots of physical protections, same amount of health as Gladiator's Shield, increased HP 5. Does not need the HP 5 because she has Death's Toll, first off. Second off, this is not doing anything for her offense. And this is where she was starting to have issues. Because while she was tankier, no doubt about that, Sun Wukong was very nearly as tanky. Keep in mind that he was only 15 protections lower than her, assuming his passive didn't activate. And they had the same amount of health, but he had cooldown reduction, and he had physical power out of that. Alright? Furthermore, he had 10% pen out of Soul Eater, which means that these two protection items combined, this is, I'm just going to round this Sovereignty up to, well, no, it's 95. We're going to round up to 60 for an even 100. It was only like 90, so this was not even really as effective as it could be. She had no pen at all, so she had no response to his Glad Shield. And then he went into Breastplate of Valor afterwards. She made the mistake of going into Shogun's Kusari a little too early. Now, the reason why Sun Wukong going into Breastplate of Valor was the right move is because at that particular point, he was still fighting Bologna a lot of the time. Yes, he was starting to rotate, don't get me wrong, but he was, still fighting Bologna a lot. He was seeing a lot of Nemesis still. And there really wasn't a need at that point for magic protections. Now, there was a risk he took here. I personally, at this point, prefer to build some form of hybrid protections because you are likely going to be confronting either the mid or the support at this point in time, so he did take a bit of a risk here, but I think by this point he was probably ahead of Bologna in experience in gold and wasn't as concerned. She obviously caught up later due to farming, but he at this point in time was probably decently ahead of her and didn't really feel as concerned about Yu Huang because of that advantage. And she built Shogun's Kusari, which meant that she was even less capable of fighting Sun Wukong because this was only giving her MP5 cooldown and attack speed versus him, and health, of course. The magic protections meant nothing. Then he goes into Talisman of Energy. Now, I am kind of curious as to why this was what he chose. I suspect it was for the MP5, but there are better ways to get that. I think Oni Hunter's Guard would have been a better choice here. That's just a personal preference of mine. But not a bad choice. But then she went with the Heavy Executioner. Alright, now this in and of itself isn't necessarily a problem, but I want you to understand that her attack speed is capped at 1.75 as a result of this, and while she didn't break that, if she was going for an auto-attack Bologna, she could very easily have done so by accident. So it was a bit of a gamble. Either this Bologna always builds this way for literally every match, and therefore knew she was going to cut it close but not quite overreach, and therefore this Bologna never adjusts her build according to the laning opposition, which is kind of concerning. Or, alternatively, she just knew that her last item wasn't going to be any form of attack speed increase. In fact, she did, for some unholy reason, go... I suspect this was a counter build for Anhur, because Anhur was stupid ahead. I mentioned earlier that he was one of the first people to hit level 20, and she probably built Spectral Armor to kind of counterbalance that, which does at least disprove the idea that she builds the same way every time. Amen to that. But there were probably better ways that she could have gotten around to dealing with Anhur rather than Spectral Armor. I think that, well, Spectral Armor is an okay response. It just really is hyper-selective for Anhur, and he was clearly punching right through and did not care. So, you know, take that as you go, but, you know, you do have to really keep in mind that that is a very serious problem. Now, I do have the interesting point of, and I want to talk about the Heavy Executioner on Anhur, because a lot of you are probably like, but Anhur has dominance already, why would he need the Heavy Executioner? I want you to understand that Anhur's passive gives him flat protection reduction on anything he hits with a spear of any variety, regular auto attack or any of his abilities. That gives a 20 flat physical protection debuff. Decrease the enemy's protections by 35%, and that's going to be 35% reduced protections, and then 20 on top of that. I want you to really understand. I'm going to take Atlas as a very specific example. Okay, Atlas, I'm going to round up here, just for ease. He had 280 protections, right? Now, on her, when you're calculating protections, this is actually a great refresher on how protection reduction is calculated. The very first thing that's calculated is percentage protection reduction. In this particular case, that's the Heavy Executioner. We're going to assume he hits his 2 auto attacks because it's on her. Come on. So we're going to go on ahead and reduce that by 35%. That's going to be a 98 protection loss here. Alright, so we are now down to 182 physical protections. The next thing that's factored in is on her is any flat protection reduction, which is the 20 from his passives. That brings down Atlas to 162. Then we're going to factor in dominance. Now I'm assuming auto attacks here, so we're going to go on ahead and assume, well, we'll assume the baseline physical penetration first. That's going to very specifically bring down Atlas's protection to very specifically 146. That's going to be 10% of 162, so that's rounded down to 16, plus the additional 15%, right? So we actually, plus the additional 15% means we are, in fact, actually going to be reducing Atlas's protections from 280 all the way down to 122 in total, with all of these combined. Okay, that is huge. That is absolutely monumental, and this is actually very specifically why you've seen me, and I haven't ever actually addressed this, but you'll notice I've been actually capping my physical protection. Heavy Executioner is the reason why. Just that item by itself. magic penetration does not hit these levels of just sheer terror for supports. Yes, there is more magic penetration and protection reduction out there than there was before, but nothing that matches the sheer terror of Heavy Executioner coming in, swinging away literally over a third of your protections. That is scary. So I have been in, as of Heavy Executioner, I have been capping or coming really damn close to capping my physical protection for exactly that reason. It gives me a little bit of a buffer to work with to actually survive. Now, I was fairly fortunate. Heimdall only built 20% pen with Silver Branch, so I was fairly fortunate here. In fact, the only time I was actually in danger is if Nemesis ulted me. Then we had a problem. But that didn't happen very often, so I was fairly fortunate that the Nemesis was really asleep at the wheel there. But with that being said, thank you all very much for joining me. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, please ignore me. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.